Welcome to Wealth Coffee Chats, folks, for your daily live updates. Get the most out of today's episode by participating in the chat. Make sure you ask some questions, be part of the conversation, have a bit of fun, grab a coffee or a tea, take some notes, and get ready to start your day, folks. Quick few housekeeping rules, though. No spamming, no advertising or self-promotion in the chat. That's not on. Be kind and respectful to everyone when participating. And most of all, have a good time. Real estate investing can be your biggest asset. It also can be your most expensive asset when it comes to getting it right or getting it wrong, folks. It can be time-consuming, stressful, and that's why here at Positive, we have what's called a 6-star team, a full-service team that provides integrated wealth and property investing solutions and services simply designed to help you progress towards your goal of passive income through your property portfolio, folks. Make sure you check out our other podcasts on the Positive Mentor Network. Not only is there Wealth Coffee Chats, there's the Urban Property Investor. Drops every Wednesday with straight talking investing strategies and lessons with Sam Saggers. Property Investor Tales. This is where our clients, you guys, share real life stories from property investing, hosted by some of our advisors and strategists. And that's done every fortnight, dropping every Monday. Wealth, Wine and Wisdom, folks, that debriefs the week that was in the world of finance and property, hosted by yours truly, Jason Witten and Andy Fenton on Fridays.
Hey, good morning, folks.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat.
Hope you're well, folks, wherever you are.
There it is, team. Morning. Morning, wherever you're tuning in from today.
Early bird gets the worm, they say. Here at Positive, we offer a 6-star team. It's a team that help you at every stage of your wealth creation journey.
Good morning, folks. Morning. Wealth Coffee Chats, Property Management Edition, Wednesday, 25th of June, just after 8 o'clock, as we always do, 10 past 8, or 8:13 as my clock says now. But good morning wherever you guys are tuning in from today. Welcome along. We'll get the show started in a moment as everyone starts to log in live. But if you're watching this on replay, also okay. Listen, if you haven't met me before, my name is Sjostedt, representing the Property Management Group, here with a coffee on a Wednesday, every Wednesday for that matter, to talk things all about holding your investment, holding your property, talking about all, what your property manager should be doing, talking about strategies to help you hold that real estate for the long term. So that's me in a nutshell. 14 years in the industry, long time now with Positive Collective Group, and working with alongside you guys across the east coast of Australia mainly. But today's topic actually comes from someone who I was talking to over the last a few times over the last week, I suppose. And Trina, if you're listening, some of the content and conversation we were having sparked a little bit something in my mind. And that was, 7 questions I'd asked if I was looking for a property manager. Sometimes, team, after a while, you get to do a few things, and you learn a thing or two. You learn what to do, what not to do as well. And I think, for many investors out there, selecting a property manager, finding a property manager even to begin with. And I suppose determining what is a good property manager and not so good property manager can be challenging if you haven't gone through. This might be your first investment property. It's the first time you've ever needed to select a property manager. And I think it's important. There's some framework or some guidance there for you to help you decide on who that person or who that group might be. And so I've come up with 7 questions. Trina's helped me actually probably deliver about 20-something questions, which I think is fantastic. And I think you guys should have that. So if you don't have a few questions up your sleeve, maybe this is the episode for it. So we're going to run through maybe and highlight what those 7 key things might do. And there might be some sub-questions you might have off the back of that category. So we'll get into that in a moment, but I can see a couple of people on. Kevin, good evening, mate. Good morning from me to you. Hope you're well. And everyone else that's tuning in today. So as we do, team, any questions in the chat along the way, please put that in there and I'll certainly get back to you, whether you're watching this live or on replay. Certainly respond accordingly. So let's get into it. 7 questions I'd ask if I was looking for a property manager, what that might be. If you've got any questions along the way, please pop it in the chat. Love to hear it. Because there's 2 reasons why I think this is super, super important. Number one, it's about keeping you safe, team, keeping you, the investor, and your asset nice and safe from all the things that are challenging throughout holding your property, as well as helping you hold and grow that asset over a period of time. Right, we know that 50% of investors sell after 2 years, and so we want to make sure we're in it for the long term. Second reason is within the property management industry, whether you know it or not, there can be and there is a higher turnover of property managers, right? So given the nature of the industry, and regardless of where it is across the country, it tends to be every 6 to 9 months, clients feel that their property manager is turning over. They've got a new property manager on their doorstep, calling them, introducing themselves, right? So is this common? Yes, team. The answer is yes. Internally here at the Positive Collective Group, I think I'm pretty proud to report, ours is certainly, our 10 years is certainly a bit longer than that, which is fantastic. But I think, as an investor, we've got to safeguard our investment. That's why I say it's all about keeping you safe and helping you hold and grow your wealth through that. So because of those reasons, we want to help grow that asset long term. The first question I'd want to ask, when I sit down with a property manager and I want to find out whether they are going to be my property manager for my investment property, I want them to talk to me about their leasing strategy. I want to really clearly understand what's going on, what's the process look like, what's the framework look like, how are they going to, one, attract a quality tenant, and how they're going to help me create that revenue for the long period of time. Now, obviously, if we're talking long-term investing, we're talking 10, 15, 20 plus years. But in this moment, we might be, focusing in on zeroing in on a 12-month lease. And so I really want to understand their leasing strategy. I don't think it's about getting some photos on your iPhone and putting on a realestate.com and opening the door on Saturday anymore. I think that's, certainly if that's a strategy you're after, you can certainly find those type of agents out there. But we want to take that to the next level. So I really want to understand, Mr. or Miss property manager, talk to me about your leasing strategy. What does your process look like? What are you going to do? What are the 10 things you're going to do to help me create revenue and find that quality tenant? Talk to me about your average days on market. How long does it take on average for you to lease a rental property in this particular area, given the comparables to your property? Right? Do you have a 14-day plan? What does that look like to get me leased really quickly? Because if we get leased quickly, team, we create revenue, cash flow will take care of itself, right? So that's the first thing I'd want to understand. Talk me through your leasing strategy, number one. Number two, once we've attracted some quality tenants and we've got some really cool options on the table, what does that application and tenant selection process look like? Again, I explained at Summit for those that were there. The amount of tenants that vacate our business into another rental property at another agency, we're not necessarily receiving a one-for-one rental reference on those tenants vacating, which tells me property managers, investors are making decisions blind. They're not getting all the information that I believe they should be, getting before they make that decision on whether that tenant is approved or not. So, property manager, talk to me about your application and tenant selection process. What are the things you are looking for at the open home? What is the dialogue that you have with these applications. How do you qualify prospective tenants and renters? What are the things you're looking for on the application? How do you vet that? What's the process look like? How do you go about checking out what the rental reference is? And if you do get a rental reference from another agent, again, what are you looking for in the detail? Is it how long they've been there? Is it the routine inspections? Is it their tenant ledger to see frequency and consistency of rental payments, right? Nitty gritty detail going to solve a lot more problems down the track, team, if we get into that, right? In that, because I think sometimes, and for those that know me, 14 years in the industry, I tell, there's one story I always tell where personally, you did all the things as per the workflow and the checklist, and you got all the things right, and the tenant was amazing. And for 12 months, it was exactly that. And then the tenant, goes through some sort of life scenario, affects their financial ability to pay the rent, and all of a sudden we've got an arrears problem. To no fault of anyone's, really, it's just a life situation came in. So it's about how you handle that if things were to go pear-shaped. So, sometimes you could ask the tenant under that application and tenant selection screen process, hey, talk to me about one of the good tenants you approved, but also, in turn, tell me about a bad tenancy. Tell me about where it went wrong. What happened? How did you handle it? What was the outcome? Really interesting to see what their response might be to that, because I think transparency is important. Number 3, property reporting. It's about keeping you safe, team. One of the things, probably the top 3 things that I always see when we take on new clients from another property manager is the lack of detail and the lack of clarity, I suppose, with their property reporting. So we're talking your routine inspections that happen every 3 to 6 months. We're talking about your entry condition reports that occur before your tenant moves in. These are super critical. So the question I'd be asking a property manager if I was interviewing them around property reporting is, can you show me an example of the last routine inspection report you and your team did? Can you show me an example of the last entry condition report that you or your team did? If they hesitate, team, there's probably a challenge there, right? You're looking for how thorough it is, how detailed it is, notes, photos. I mean, we share some tech around how that standard can be lifted. At the end of the day, that's about minimizing your insurance risk, right? So property reporting, super important. Ask for examples. Number 4, you want to have some conversations around how the property manager might handle their arrears policy. And how they might handle conflict. It's not easy for everyone, for all property managers, to pick up the phone and have a conversation with someone about collecting rent, right? We understand things in life, change and maneuver and adjust and all that sort of stuff. And so sometimes tenants get themselves in that scenario. So it's about how we handle that conversation and that conflict that may arise from that scenario. So it's all well and good, having automated messages and serving breach notices on set days as per legislation. That's fantastic. That's the process. That's the legislation. But how do you, the property manager, handle that conflict? What does that conversation look like? Because there's a real skill in handling conflict and negotiation skills, I think, where it makes the difference between the normal property manager and the great property manager, ultimately to get the outcome, showing some empathy, but at the same time getting the result for the owner. So property manager, talk to me about how you handle conflict through your arrears policy. It'd be really interesting to see what their response might be. Number 5, we're nearly there, team, nearly there. Number 5, maintenance and repairs handling. Again, we've recently showed some strategies and some ways around what sort of framework you guys can use and plug into your portfolio. But, that's all coming down to, how proactive you are, I guess how you respond to that, because obviously the quicker the response, you're going to mitigate any further damage or risk to the property. And so ultimately, Mr. Property Manager, Miss Property Manager, what's your strategy when it comes to maintenance and repair? Because maintenance and repairs are 2 different things, right? I think repairs are reactive things, right? When the tenant calls you about a leaking tap or a burst hot water system, that requires a repair. Maintenance, I think, is more the proactive side of things, where you might need to get your pool service every month. It's on a reoccurring autopilot scenario. Maybe your air conditioning needs to get serviced every 12 months, right? Maintenance versus repair. I would argue most property managers might not know the difference. So again, ask them, what's their framework? What's their philosophy? How do they go about maintenance and repair, right? 2 different things. Ask them about that response and timing. Right. Risk management, number 6, risk management. Within the property management world, legislation, regardless of which state or territory you may have an investment property in, there is significant compliance and legislation reforms out there that property managers need to abide by, right? So we're all playing by the same rules. We need to ensure, for me and our team, we need to ensure we're kept up to date with what those legislation pieces are, and if and when there are changes, we are doing some training and some self-development around that space. So, when it comes to risk management, I would be asking our property manager, hey, listen, talk to me about the compliance program. What have you got in place to protect me and my property when it comes to compliance? We're talking smoke alarms, gas and electrical, water compliance, blind compliance, you name it. There's more coming, I'm sure. What does that look like around the bond process with the RTAs, for example, in Queensland? It's also about the level of skill, I think, or experience with your property manager when it comes to insurance capability and ability to make an assessment or provide advice. Most property managers may not have that experience, may not have that ability to provide that advice when things do happen and you need to go down the claim. Why do I say that? Well, recent point between 2 different property managers. One was looking at getting a $3,000 outcome. We stepped in and got a $12,000 outcome. And so sometimes, team, the question is, you need to know what level of capability your property manager has when it comes to insurance assessment. What's their experience like? To give you examples on what happened in the past, what might happen in the future. And again, ultimately, playing by the rules when it comes to different compliance and legislation reforms out there. So risk management, you want to understand your property manager's ability and, again, philosophy when it comes to that. What are the things in place that they've got for you with your asset? And number 7, I think it's just about them, team. I think it's just about them. Why, when you're interviewing them, why property management for them? As I say from the top, right, the industry has a challenge at the moment and has had for a few years now, where every 6 to 9 months, property managers are turning over. They feel burnt out. They want to try something else, right? That happens in all industries, I'm sure. But why property management? Mr. Property Manager, Ms. Property Manager, what's investment look like for you? Are you investing in property yourself? What's your purpose? Right? It's really interesting to see what their response might be. And from that response, you might be able to get a bit of you'll be able to get some intel into where they're at when it comes to what they are doing. And then depending on their purpose and their response, right, you can sort of see what type of outcome you might get with your asset if you're thinking to hold this property for 10, 15 plus years. How can they assist you with the 15-year rent growth plan, right? These are sort of the details. So what's the strategy for them to help you hold that property for 10, 15 plus years? So I think you need to make it about them. You need to get to know that property manager. You need to understand what makes them tick, because if you can understand what makes them tick, then you might be in a better position to get that outcome that you are striving for, and not be that 50% of the investors out there across the country that sell after 2 years. So to recap, 7 questions. Why do we do it? Why is it important? We want to keep safe, help you hold and grow your wealth, right, team? And number 2, obviously the industry challenge around change of property managers. So number 1, we said, talk me through your leasing strategy and all the things that come around creating that revenue. Number 2, application tenant selection process. We want all the detail around that. Number 3, property reporting. Ask for examples on routine inspections and entry condition reports. You want to see that in the flesh. If they're hesitant, there might be a problem. Number 4 is about handling conflict, and maybe even ask them, hey, how do you negotiate? It's really important. Number 5, maintenance and repairs. 2 different things there you want to know about. Number 6, risk management. And number 7, it's about them. Get to know what makes them tick. Get to know why they are doing this, why are they in this industry, why property management, what makes them tick. And I think you're going to get a lot of answers. You might get some things you want to hear. You might see some things and hear some things you don't want to hear. But I think, team, if you apply those 7 questions or that framework there, you're going to be in a great position to understand whether that's the right property manager for you. So with that said, it's just about 8:30, so I better chuff off, team. But hey, listen, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for playing full out. Hopefully that bit of framework has helped. As always, any questions, reach out. Don't forget, 8:10 tomorrow, financial planning team will be on. Talk all things in their world, and look forward to seeing you guys there. All right, See you guys.
Thanks for watching another episode of Wealth Coffee Chat, folks. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss a thing when we go live. Improve your portfolio and investing game, folks, with Wealth Coffee Chats live every morning at 8:10 each weekday. Make sure you join us. Previous episodes are also available wherever you get your podcasts, folks, as well as our other podcasts from the 6-Star team here at positivementor.com.au.